Shadow of War just can't seem to die. It doesn't really matter how many amazing games are releasing every year, people who love this game will keep playing it until the world will have come to its end. I have every right to say so, as I am one of these players. Normally I despise these type of games, in which the map is cluttered with 500 different markers and collectibles, constantly looting meaningless shit, and you just hop from place A to place B to kill characters that you don't even care about. But Shadow of War has nailed a certain aspect that not a lot of games have managed to replicate until this date. They have managed to make failure fun. More dangerous than an orc. A hungry cat. You see, in a certain way, Shadow of War plays itself. How you normally in an open world game with grindy content would go from place to place, doing a lot of filler up content that you don't really care about, resulting in you being overleveled and overpowered within the first couple of hours of playing. Shadow of War decided to take all of that and to throw it out of the window, and to only reward players for being as aggressive and risky as possible. If you have played this game, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you haven't, allow me to show you. The dying mechanic in Shadow of War is my favorite type of game over in any game I've played till this date. Some people will argue that dying is part of the experience in the game. For example, in Souls games. Dying 100 times over and over and over again gives you a bit more experience and insight on your enemy. How to beat them, which tactics work, which ones don't, etc. But then on the other side of the coin, there are people like me who think that is fucking annoying and just not very fun at all. If you compare this to being killed by a random Uruk, going out of your way to take revenge on him, only for him to then come back from the dead to take revenge on you, but instead of killing you, he humiliates you. Twice. And this happens constantly. It's not forced whatsoever. This is what I meant when I said at the start that the game essentially plays itself. With stuff like this, you never run out of options to play the game, as it essentially keeps refreshing itself and giving you new content and new people to fight. Even if you slaughter every orc, uruk, whatever that there is to fight, you can just fast forward time and some new ones will spawn again, who will then all have their own new weapons, with their own new unique traits, weapons, personalities, you name it. I get the appeal. Laptop died. I get the appeal of games in which you constantly die and in which you have to keep trying over and over again. I mean, I like Bloodborne, I like Sekiro, and I also like the more casual learn from your mistake type of games like The Witcher or Midnight Fight Express. This really sucks. Yeah. But after a while it felt like the fun and the frustration were at a balancing point, which isn't really ideal, to be honest. While in Shadow of War it was always, and in my opinion still is, 95% fun and only 5% frustration, which is great. Even though dying is essentially a good thing and it pushes the game forward, quite obviously it isn't the end result to just keep on dying. You actually have to kill. Killing enemies results in better swords, daggers, bows, armor, cloaks and rings. Each and every one has a unique ability, like healing you after every kill or setting everything on fire after a successful attack. Pair this with item attributes that only unlock after completing a certain task, and you're left off with a continuous grind to find better gear, to fight better enemies, and to eventually be a better version of yourself. So yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said it was a grindy game. But this system works so much better than any other game I've played, as you actually feel like a menace to these orcs instead of just ticking off boxes of shit that you have to do. It's also why I'd recommend anyone to just play this game on the hardest difficulty possible. This is not one of those games in which you at the end want to say, oh look, I only died 4 times. No, you actually want to die. Just like in real life. It also just adds to the unpredictability of the game. For example, when you finally kill someone that has killed you multiple times already, only to then shame him in the hope that you can recruit him into your own army, to then find out that he didn't give a flying fuck about any of that. Jokes aside, if you're like me, meaning slightly autistic, you actually get invested into this type of stuff way too much. I used to, and am still right now, ignoring the entire main quest just so that I can spend time with my favorite followers or bodyguards to hunt other people down. The moment one of them dies or betrays me, I actually get a little bit sad. When you really think about it, Monolith Productions are sitting on a fucking goldmine with this game. I'm fairly certain they didn't even hire that many voice actors to voice all of the orcs in the game, as a lot of them sound exactly the same.
We are prepared to die for you, Bright Lord. He does not scare us.
And whenever I say that they all have unique personalities, it's not like they have 200 different lines of dialogue or character traits. A lot of it is still just copy and paste with slight adjustments here and there. But since this game released, I've played through it fully like 4 or maybe even 5 times. And in all of those playthroughs, I've never encountered 2 exactly identical orcs. Did you guys ever play those Watch Dogs games? I have. Typical Ubisoft game, right? Copy and pasted content, you won't miss out on much. But one mechanic in those games was actually pretty cool, which was hacking people. The entire game was hacking, but that's not the point. But hacking people and to see what their job or their deepest secret was. How cool would it be if in the sequel to this game we could do something similar? To go even deeper into what orcs fear, what they love, who is likely to betray whom, who exactly hate each other, stuff like that. Possibilities are endless, or at least they were. Until they decided to throw all of our hard work and our beloved main character out of the window. Oh, and to then spit in our face with the DLC, in which the character that nobody liked suddenly killed our character. Want to talk about that? No? Good. Me neither. Yeah. Now, obviously it's not all perfect, and you can't just implement this into every game in existence and hope it will go well. The AI is still kinda brain dead, especially in the pit fights. Your orc often beats the shit out of someone, only to then just stand there, waiting for the other one to kill him. Tinfoil hat moment, right? But I am fully 100% convinced that they did this stuff on purpose, just so that people would buy more upgrades and buffs for their orcs in the shop. But hey, if it's true or not, what the fuck ever. We'll discuss that in another video. Also, and this is more of a gameplay issue itself, the fighting system isn't very elaborate. If you fight an orc that's immune to executions and ranged attacks, that's like 90% of the stuff you can do to him. So then you're forced to just either roll around or constantly leave combat, hop into stealth, circle around and to stab him in the back and to repeat that. Which is, well, again, the highest difficulty is a must because it also increases your damage output. So unless you want to spend like 20 to 30 minutes fighting one guy, ignore this though. But to wrap it all up, I was wondering the other day why I kept coming back to this game. And I think it boils down to this. Even though the missions and the ending are set in stone and there's nothing you can do to change them, still every run is unique because of the unique dying mechanic. I have no clue what I paid at the time for this game, but let's just say it was 60 bucks. You get your money's worth tenfold. I can guarantee you that if you would look at the save files I had in 2017, 18, etc., that the orcs I had gathered were completely different from the ones I have now, with completely different overlords, bodyguards and followers. I mean, I can't check, as the game only allows you to have one save file at a time. I also don't know why, but trust me, it's true. With all of that being said, there are a lot of rumors on the internet floating around about a sequel for this game. None of them are worth mentioning. They're all really stupid and dumb. Like this one that thinks the game will be as big as Skyrim, which even if it was true isn't even a good thing, as the 2 other games until this point have managed just fine with very small maps that have been divided into multiple chapters. But sure, whatever. Everything should be Skyrim nowadays, I guess. Still, I am scared shitless of a sequel, mostly because they did everything almost flawlessly until this point, and then yeah, like I said, the ending of Shadow of War happened, and I don't want to go into it too much, as maybe you're watching this and I kind of piqued your interest and you haven't played the game yet. If you have played the game, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. You could consider this a spoiler, but let's just say that the ending is really fucking bad. But the ending of the first game was also terrible, so whatever. So yeah, I've lost all faith in the follow-up, but we'll just have to see what happens. It doesn't really matter all that much anyways, as I'll always be a part of the group that'll keep playing this game until the world will have come to its end. See ya.
From the Black Gates.
Thought you were all dead.
You heard the truth.